answer.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Malaysia continues to work out the diplomatic, technical, and logistical challenges involved in the search for MH370. We are still awaiting information from the Australian search and rescue operation as to whether the objects shown in the satellite images released by Australia yesterday are indeed related to MH370. In the meantime, we are continuing search and rescue operations in the rest of the southern and northern corridors. I will now give you a brief operational update as usual. Search efforts southwest of Perth continues, and the Australian authorities are intensifying their efforts in the area. HMAS Success is due to reach the vicinity of the objects tomorrow. China has deployed 5 ships and 3 ship-borne helicopters, which are currently heading towards the southern corridor. 3 Chinese aircrafts, 2 Illusion 1 IL-76s, and 1 Shaanxi Y-8 arrived in Malaysia at 1100 this morning. They will also be searching in the southern corridor. Japan is deploying its assets to Perth, including 2 P-3 Orions, to assist with the Australian search efforts. This morning, I have spoken with the Acting High Commissioner from the United Kingdom, who confirmed that the Prime Minister has spoken to the Prime Minister of the UK, and the HMS Echo is already heading towards the southern Indian Ocean to support the search effort. He also confirmed that the UK will be providing us with a list of possible assets that can be deployed if needed. He also reaffirmed that in addition to the technical support provided so far, it stands ready to provide further specialist search and investigative assistance once more information about the fate of MH370 becomes known. I've also been in touch with the French delegation, which is led by the French ambassador to Malaysia and includes the men who led the investigation into Air France 447 crash. They have agreed to assist us with their considerable experience and expertise. I will also be speaking to the US Secretary of Defense at 21:15 tonight to request further specialist assets to help with the search and rescue efforts, including remotely operated vehicles for deep ocean salvage. The Kazakhstan authorities have assured us that they have not found any trace of MH370, and we are awaiting permission for Kazakhstan to be used as a staging point for search operations. On the police investigation, the Ukraine police have confirmed that the background checks on the Ukrainian passengers have come back clear. I would like to briefly discuss the processing of the Inmarsat data. The investigations team received the complete raw Inmarsat satellite data, which included the 6 handshakes at approximately 1500 on Wednesday, 12th of March. This type of data is not normally used in investigation of this sort. It is only because we have so little other information to go on in this difficult and unprecedented situation that the data is being used. Upon receiving the raw data, the Malaysian authorities immediately discussed with the US team how this information might be used. The US team and the investigations team then sent the data to the US, where further processing was needed before it could be used. Initial results were received on Thursday, the 13th of March at approximately 13:30, but it was agreed by the US team and the investigations team that further refinement was needed, so the data was again sent back to the US. The results were received at approximately 2:30 on Friday, the 14th of March, and presented to the investigations team at a high-level meeting at 2100 on Friday. The UK AAIB, who had also been processing this data independently, presented their results, which concurred with ours and those of the US team at that meeting. The Prime Minister was briefed on the satellite information at 8 a.m. Saturday, the 15th of March, and publicly announced it at the press conference at Saturday lunchtime. Search and rescue operations were immediately shifted to the northern and southern corridors. Last night in Kuala Lumpur, we held a briefing for the relatives of those on board MH370. As I mentioned in yesterday's statement, the briefing was to update family members on the latest developments and to answer questions and clear up any confusion. The meeting was well attended by family members from different nations, including Malaysia, and by representatives from the Chinese Embassy in Kuala Lumpur. A high-level Malaysian delegation, including representatives from Malaysian Airlines, the Department of Civil Aviation, the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Defence, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the National Security Council also attended the meeting. We had a very constructive and frank discussion. Although we answered most of the questions they raised, we could not answer them all. These briefings will continue at the family's convenience for as long as the families want them. The briefing brought the families and the Malaysian authorities closer together, not just in terms of sharing information, but also in terms of listening to the voice of the family members. The Prime Minister's Special Envoy to China will be coordinating the briefings in Kuala Lumpur from now on. The high-level team I announced yesterday arrived in Beijing last night. Today they met with family members for 3.5 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, this continues to be a multinational effort coordinated by Malaysia and involving dozens of countries from around the world. We continue to receive offers of assistance, including specialist assets that can help with the search and rescue. And we welcome all assistance as we continue to follow every credible lead. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is now open for question and answer session. We'll start with the local media first. Please, sir.
Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri. Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri, saya Rafi dari RTM. Sekiranya dua objek yang ditemui di Australia itu tiada kaitan dengan MH370, apakah kerajaan mempunyai perancangan untuk menubuhkan sub-center SAR di koridor utara memandangkan ia antara petunjuk selepas ini, dan sekiranya ada, apakah kerajaan mempunyai pelan SAR untuk ke sana, dan bagaimana dengan penerimaan keluarga selepas mendengar taklimat semalam kerana ada yang mendakwa keadaan agak tegang.
Kita sedang buat persiapan untuk kedua-dua kemungkinan tadi, dan dari segi persiapan dengan keluarga kita sedia maklum dan kita dapat sekiranya maklumat yang kita terima daripada pihak-pihak yang berkenaan dapat disampaikan kepada mereka secepat mungkin dalam kedua-dua perkara ini. Tapi malangnya setakat hari ini, setakat pukul 5.40 tidak ada perkembangan yang positif yang untuk kita sampaikan kepada mereka.
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum, saya Shima daripada TV Al Hijrah. Datuk Seri, laporan hari ini ada mengatakan ada 4 kapal Cina dilarang masuk untuk ke perairan India. So macam mana Malaysia sebagai ketua operasi untuk menyalaskan operasi mencari dan menyelamat ini supaya lebih berjalan lancar? Terima kasih.
Laporan itu tidak benar. Seperti kenyataan saya tadi, dah beberapa kapal telah pun bertolak dan ke arah koridor selatan tadi.
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri, saya Hilman dari Bernama TV. Soalan saya, sekiranya petunjuk di Australia ini bukan jawapan kepada penemuan MH370, adakah terdapat petunjuk baru yang mungkin pihak Datuk Seri terima? Dan soalan kedua saya, berapa lama SAR ini akan dijalankan? Adakah selepas signal kotak hitam yang bertahan 30 hari, saya dimaklumkan bertahan 30 hari itu, selepas itu adakah ia akan ditamatkan, Datuk Seri?
Tidak, sebenarnya kita akan teruskan dan masih lagi bersemangat untuk operasi mencari dan insya-Allah untuk menyelamat. Dan apa maklumat yang saya terima daripada pasukan Perancis, di mana kapal terbang Perancis mengambil masa 2 tahun untuk kita cari dan dapat balik kotak hitam itu. Ada teknologi-teknologi yang lain yang digunakan selepas 30 hari tempoh yang telah pun ditetapkan.
Okay, selamat petang Datuk Seri. Saya Kadir daripada RTM. Saya ada dua soalan untuk Datuk Seri. Soalan pertama apakah masalah yang bakal atau dihadapi oleh SAL tim kita yang menjalankan misi di kedua-dua koridor, khususnya di koridor selatan yang melibatkan kawasan pencarian yang luas, dan seperti yang kita tahu penemuan dua objek yang terbaru ni yang dipercayai serpihan daripada MH370 ni sedikit sebanyak menimbulkan persoalan mengatakan objek tersebut telah dijumpai memandangkan gambar pada imej satelit tersebut bertarikh pada 16 Mac lepas. Dan satu lagi seperti yang kita tahu, bekalan bateri bagi menghantar isyarat lokasi kotak hitam pesawat hanya boleh bertahan sehingga 30 hari. Dan bagaimana kita hendak mencari kotak hitam tersebut selepas tempoh tersebut memandangkan setakat ini kita tidak mempunyai sebarang teknologi yang membolehkan kita berbuat demikian, dan justru apakah langkah-langkah seterusnya yang membolehkan kita untuk menemui kotak hitam tersebut?
Soalan kedua saya dah jawab tadi, di mana kepakaran daripada pasukan Perancis, di mana kapal terbang yang terlibat dalam insiden terdahulu juga dijumpai selepas 30 hari, dan itu sedang kita bincangkan apa keperluan kita. Tetapi saya berdoa agar kita dapat mengenal pasti dan dapat mencari pesawat berkenaan sebelum tempoh berkenaan. Berhubung kait dengan cabaran untuk kita mencari pesawat ini, memang saya dah nyatakan sebelum ini cabaran di koridor selatan merupakan salah satu cabaran yang perlu kita memberikan fokus yang teramat sangat. Dan maklumat yang kita terima daripada pihak Australia yang mengetuai operasi mencari di kawasan itu merupakan satu perkara yang ada lead yang kredibel, saya sebut semalam. Itu mesti dijadikan tumpuan kita hari ini. Kalau itu dapat kita pastikan, maka kawasan yang sebegitu luas dapat kita perkecilkan dan kita lihat kepada usaha-usaha lain yang perlu diberi fokus. This is going to be a long haul. I think we have to trench down on this. But like I said, the focus has always been to find the airplane, and the focus is to reduce the area of search and possible rescue.
Datuk Seri, I'm Amirul from BFM Radio 89.9. My question is, you've mentioned there's a need for pinger locator hydrophones. Can you elaborate further on this item and how it can help in the search?
That has got a direct, I have to be very careful here not to alarm the family members, but the pinger locator hydrophones relates to us locating the black box. And that was used by the French team. Very limited countries have got that capability. And I have been talking to leaders of those countries for the possibility of using or being given the chance or the opportunity to use them.
Please. Please.
Helmi dari Cosmo, tu Sri.
Yes.
Soalan saya, bagaimana dengan penelitian kepada imej satelit yang didapati di barat daya Perth tu, bila tarikh yang didapati, dan juga memandangkan ini adalah very credible lead, mungkin ada tak maklumat-maklumat radar di kawasan lautan Hindi telah didapati berkenaan dengan objek yang ditemui tersebut? Dan satu lagi persoalannya kepada Mas ataupun DC, adakah pesawat Boeing kita dilengkapi dengan sistem yang dipanggil sebagai Boeing Interruptible Autopilot yang boleh menghalang sebarang tindakan hijack dari dalam secara manual? Melainkan kalau benda ni berlaku, hanya boleh dilakukan secara remote control oleh military. Sekian.
Sebelum saya serah kepada Dato' Azhar, kepada kacamata saya sebagai seorang yang tidak dilatih, it looks as though the images is just a speck in the ocean. But I suppose there are experts out there who can differentiate one speck on the ocean from the others. I'm talking as a layman. But as far as the
Kita
first question is concerned,
diberitahu secara rasmi oleh pihak Australia yang mereka dalam imaging satellite yang mereka dapati ada mengenai perkara ataupun objek yang credible lead datangnya daripada pesawat tersebut, dan mereka terus menghantar kapal terbang P3 Orion untuk melihat untuk mencari objek tersebut, dan sehingga hari ini kita dapat dengan positif mencari objek tersebut, dan mestilah ada analisisnya sebelum mereka mengumumkan bahawa objek tersebut is a credible lead.
saya nak mengesahkan daripada kenyataan saya tadi bahawa 4 pesawat telah pun kita deploy kepada 2,500 km daripada Perth, dan pesawat-pesawat ini merupakan pesawat yang paling sophisticated, dan itulah yang kita gunakan, tak termasuk maklumat-maklumat lain berhubung kait dengan the P8 Poseidon and also the merchant ship that has responded to the shipping broadcast issued by RCC Australia on Monday.
So, untuk soalan yang kedua, saya rasa
Ini soalan kedua mengenai autopilot ni. The aircraft is equipped as standard. Okay, there's nothing additional that we have to work on. Yang belakang? Yes, yeah. Okay.
Assalamualaikum Datuk Seri, Suhaila daripada Berita Harian. Datuk Seri, betul ke Malaysia ada buka pusat operasi mencari dan menyelamat di Kazakhstan?
Tadi saya dah maklumkan berhubung kait dengan status di Kazakhstan, di mana Kazakhstan telah mengesahkan setakat ini mereka tidak mempunyai apa-apa maklumat bahawa pesawat berkenaan telah mendarat di sana. Tetapi kita masih menunggu maklumat sama ada kita Kazakhstan dibenarkan sebagai staging point ayat yang digunakan tadi.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Datuk Sri, Elizabeth from the Malaysian Insider.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, Datuk Sri, there's not much been said about the status of police investigations into the pilot and the co-pilot for the past few days since, so can you please?
Yeah, saya can confirm that my discussions with some of the intelligence agencies, international intelligence agencies have come back to me that they have not found anything unusual from the manifest. They have looked at the passenger manifest earlier, but we have requested that they re-look at the list. And this is my own personal information that I received from the intelligence agencies. As far as the simulator is concerned, we have forwarded the information in there to international parties to verify, and within, I believe, in a very short period of time, the IGP might be able to come to you to inform you of the latest development on that.
Okay. Last question from local media.
Your extreme left, let's see. Zurin from the Star. A lady has claimed that she saw something like what could be a MH370 while flying back from Mecca. She lodged 2 police reports and apparently nothing was done about it. Is that so?
I don't have information about that particular sighting, but we've always said that any lead, where possible, we will follow up. But at the moment, the most credible lead we have is from the satellite images. Obviously, all our efforts in the last 2 days have been to verify and corroborate that information.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we go to the international circuit itself, and this corner will start with our gentleman here.
Sydney Morning Herald. Are there any strong leads at all? Anything significant? Or, is there any idea what happened?
No.
Please, behind the gentleman here. No, don't need.
Angus Whitley from Bloomberg News. Minister, what conclusions have you drawn from the Inmarsat data that you received? And also from your analysis of the cockpit voice transmissions and the crew and the passengers and the simulator, the flight simulator, are there any conclusions either way that you've drawn, or any evidence of a struggle or anyone speaking under duress in the cockpit?
Your first question on IMASAT, with the IMASAT information we received on Wednesday, the 13th of, yes, we received the 13th of March on Wednesday. We collaborated with our investigating team from the US team, and in the end of the day, we analyze it and come up with the two corridors, the northern corridors and southern corridors. And from the what we have gathered from the communication with the pilot, ATC and pilot, we have not come to any conclusion, because we have to get more information from the aircraft itself. I don't want to go. It's very sensitive now to the next of kin, but we have to get the more evidence if we get the aircraft itself. That's what our main aim now is, to find the aircraft.
Yes, please. Your question, please.
Danny Lee, South China Morning Post newspaper. How much smaller are the chances of finding the wreckage in that spot off the west coast of Australia as every day goes past, given the fact that the currents in that region and the fact that the wreckage might have sunk? And when you talked about the IMASAT data, what did you mean by it needed further refinement? Can you clarify?
Let me just answer about the search. The southern corridor has always been a challenge, and I have to thank the Australian authorities and also expertise from the US. And like I said, I will be seeking further assistance from the Secretary of Defense, US, tonight. In the event that we do not find the debris in the near future, I will reveal and inform the media what are our plans in the southern corridor. But let me just stress that the most sophisticated planes, aircrafts, and vessels are heading in that direction. Some have actually even covered the area. You're talking about the P3 Orions. You're talking about the P8 Poseidon. There are only two in this world. And US has given us permission and have deployed that in that area. So yes, it is a challenge, but we are using every possible asset and equipment that is available to the world out there to locate the aircraft.
Upon receiving the raw data, the Malaysian authorities immediately discussed this with the US team and how this information might be used. So the US team and the investigation team of Malaysia then sent the data to the US, where further processing was needed before it could be used. So the initial result came back to us on Thursday, 13 March at 1:30 in the afternoon, and it was agreed by the US team and the Malaysian team that further refinement need to be done. So the data again was sent to the US.
It doesn't mean much, but what did it show you when you received it?
Well, I don't want to go to details about it, but the end of the end details about it, we come up with the two corridors, the northern corridor and southern corridor. The IMASAT also, IMASAT data also was used by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Board of UK, and they also did analysis on it. When AIB came to Malaysia on Friday, the 14th of March, we compared the US team effort, Malaysian team effort with the AIB, and the end result of the analysis matched each other.
Okay, we go to the next question after this. Yes. Mike, would you someone pass the mic over, please? Thank you very much. Your question, please.
Hello, gentlemen. You're live on Sky News in the UK just at the moment. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I wonder two things. Could we see the cargo list, please, at some stage? And also, there are reports that there are lithium-ion batteries that were in the cargo hold. Is that true? And given that they are notoriously unstable, could that have had an impact on the aircraft?
The cargo manifest list is obviously with the investigation team. We carry some lithium-ion small batteries. They're not big batteries, but they are basically approved under the ICAO, how we basically, under dangerous goods. It's not dangerous goods per se, but in terms of they're not declared as dangerous goods under ICAO. So it's being packed or as recommended by ICAO. So we do check them several times to make sure that packing is right, and they are done in accordance to the ICAO guidelines. So airlines do this all the time. It's not just Malaysia Airlines. These goods are being flown by many airline cargo anyway. That's according to the ICAO ruling. It's with the investigation team.
Can check with them.
Okay, we can check with them.
Okay, we have a question from the gentleman on the list. Could someone pass the microphone to him, please? Thank you. Yes, please, your question.
Yes,
Sir?
yes, Steve Futterman from CBS Radio. So, hi. You talked about the long haul, which there's lots of things you can read into when you talk about the long haul. You also talked about having frank discussions with the family members. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. You talked about the long haul, how suggesting that this is going to be a very long ordeal, which you, I think, have suggested before. You also talked about having frank discussions with the family members. Now, I don't expect anyone to tell family members to give up hope. You would never do that. But at the same time, when you have frank discussions, do you present realistic odds, realistic scenarios to the family members, which obviously they may not want to hear? And how difficult is it for you to be frank with family members about the chances of their loved ones being alive today?
It's very, very difficult, because the one question that they really want to know is the answer to which we do not have, which is where are their loved ones and where is the aeroplane?
Yes, please, the gentleman behind there. I don't know. No? Oh, okay. Yeah,
Thank you.
Questions, sir, and identify yourself, please, sir.
Hi. Thank you. My name is Yoshioka from NHK Japan. I have a question regarding the person who said the all right, good night. On Monday press conference, you said the initial investigation indicated it was the co-pilot. So my question is now, who do you think it was?
Well, this is obviously this part of the investigation. Like I said, this is just the initial, when we listen to the initial recording, we suspect it was the co-pilot making the last call.
You're not able to recognize the voice from the 53-years-old guy.
I think we've gone
I think it's
through
with the investigation team, so let them actually investigate that fully.
Okay, we proceed to the next question. Mandrin, behind you, please. Thank you.
Yesterday, I'm from China News Service. Yesterday, you mentioned Malaysia's lack of equipment or technology of deep water researching. And are you going to require more countries to use it, such as the China's Snow Dragon one? Yes, is that useful?
Yes, China is fully aware of our requirements, both at the moment and the possibility of deep sea search and rescue. The idea of ping locator is one asset which is immediately required to identify where the black box is within the 30-day period. But to do that, we need to narrow the areas of search. So we are focusing on the credible information that was given to us by the Australians who are leading that quadrant. And if we can narrow that, then we'll be in a better and a stronger position to know what sort of equipment that we need. But I can assure you that the Chinese authorities are more than willing and have been very cooperative. No, I cannot.
Okay. Your question, sir.
Dimitri Sevastopoulos, Financial Times. One of the difficulties with the search is that the planes can only spend 2 hours. Sorry, back here. One of the difficulties with the search is that the planes can only spend 2 hours in the region when they get there. Why has the Pentagon not sent refueling tankers so that the planes can spend longer time in the area? And are you going to ask Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel to do that when you talk to him tonight?
After your question, I probably will.
But has that been discussed so far? Because it seems like a...
I don't, the operational side of it, I do not discuss at the level of Secretary Chuck Hagel. But now that you have raised it, I'll probably raise it with him tonight.
Okay, we go to the next question. The gentleman. Is that okay? Yeah, brother. Yeah. Right, so.
Hi, Jake from the Wall Street Journal. Can you give some more details about basing in Kazakhstan? Can you give us an idea of what will be based there, what capabilities they will have, and does that mean that you're shifting focus in some way to the Northern Corridor?
Sorry, I couldn't find you. Kazakhstan, did you say?
What he's saying is, you talked about Kazakhstan in your statement. Does it mean that you're, in a sense, returning your focus and attention to the Northern Corridor?
No, that just shows that we are concentrating on both corridors. And in relation to Kazakhstan, they have said that they have no news or confirmation that the airplane was in their airspace. And we are waiting a reply from them as to whether we can use Kazakhstan as a staging point. And until and unless they confirm that, I wouldn't be in a position to say more.
So what about the assets? What assets?
Can you just wait?
Please, hold on. Okay, last question from the gentleman there, please. Siva, just hold for the mic, please, Siva.
Minister, Siva from Reuters. Two questions. There was a report that the pilot made a phone call from the cockpit just before the flight. That report came out overnight. Could somebody comment on what that phone call was, if you have any evidence of that, and could you provide some details? The second thing is, you keep talking about wanting to narrow the search corridor, but you clearly have not been able to do that so far. So could you be a bit more specific about some of the challenges that you're facing in narrowing those search corridors? What more can Malaysia do? What more can your partners do to help narrow the search corridor?
Well,
Thank you.
honestly, the search now has taken a global perspective. I don't think there's any bigger search and rescue operation being done right now. To have the US, the Chinese, the Japanese all working together with all the sophisticated equipment, and Malaysia is only just a coordinating country, because it would be impossible to have such sophisticated equipment within our armory. But the fact that their support has been overwhelming, that is what I meant. But with the most sophisticated equipment out there in the world, and if we as a global community cannot narrow it, I don't know who else can. So basically now you've got the Poseidon, you've got the P3, satellite images have focused to some areas. That is what I meant by on the operational side, the narrowing of the corridor, especially the southern corridor, as you can see, raises its own challenges, and the depth of the sea, the weather and the waves. If we do not find it within the 30 days, it brings in other issues of how to locate, as the French airline had to take 2 years to find, and that comes into a different realm of search and rescue. The phone call, I think you have to answer.
Well, as far as we're concerned, we are passing this information to the investigating authorities, and they will investigate us.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, with that we conclude the session for today. Until again tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Would you like to brief them?